welcome back to another episode of the Movie Geek Podcast. This is part 2 of the Comic Con 1. If you didn't see the first one, go back and see it and listen to all the great stories. I'm not going to take too much time here, so like, subscribe, comment, share, let's go, because I'm going to shoot some shots in this episode, so get ready to get spammed by a whole lot of shorts soon. Alright, so we left off at the 2018 mark, and so George and I went to Fan Expo. We met the Back to the Future cast. Well, sort of. We get to take a picture with them. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Tom Wilson, and Leah Thompson. And that was pretty cool for him. Now, we didn't get to meet the rest of them. Michael J. Fox's line was so long, and it was not feasible for us to do that day. He was only there for one day. But I did get to meet Leah Thompson separately and talked, not Back to the Future, but we talked mostly about Caroline in the City, because I loved Caroline in the City. So we get to talk about that, and again, she was really nice. Famke Janssen. Many of you may remember her from GoldenEye. She was the female assassin who crushed a man's skull with her thighs. That is how most men remember her. I also remember her from Rounders, and also from a spin-off of The Blacklist, and she was pretty cool, but she was a little bit of a germaphobe, and I never encountered a celebrity with a germaphobe phobia, so obviously didn't get to give her a hug or handshake or whatnot, but she was still really, really nice, so can't fault her for that. I just had quite a interesting little take back. We get to meet Jason Momoa. My one thing about Jason is I thought he was bigger. Like, I thought he was taller and a little bit more on the muscular side, because Aquaman had just came out, and he looked really big and tall, so they must have shot him at different angles, but a real nice guy. And George I had a blast with him. Another guy that we got to meet, Jeff Goldblum. He is everything that his on-screen characters are. He is such an eccentric person, and really cool guy, and he had some really good stories, and yeah, it was quite an experience, and he is definitely very much like some of his characters, especially like in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, when he was the leader of the trash world, basically, and yeah, very similar to that. Evangelina Lilly. I always screw that name up at the beginning. I wanted to meet her because of Lost. I know a lot of people were there to see her as the Wasp, but I wanted to kind of get her idea, like, why she hated Lost so much, because she was very public about her struggles with the show Lost, and but I also kind of wanted to be respectful of that. So she also was writing. She wrote a children's book, and I took one of those home for George, who really appreciated that. Finally, Carrie Elways, Robin Hood Men in Tights. I mean, one of the funniest movies. Also, he was in Glory. He was also in Saw. He's been in so many things, and it was good to chat with him about Glory and Robin Hood, and just everything. Like, a really nice guy. Rhode Island Comic Con that year was full of people, and like I said, it got bigger. I believe this was around the time that they used the Omni Hotel to move some of the venues so that they could get more celebrities in. So, and they also opened up more of the convention center. So they had the convention center, they had the Dunk, and they had the Omni Hotel, which they now are using more for the panels now, so that they can, you know, have more leeway there. They also, I think that was the year that they moved the photo op area to outside. And one problem with that is the generator went out that year during one of the hours of the photo op thing. So that was one. I think that was the only year that they left it outside. But get to meet a whole mess of people there. Zach Galligan, who played Billy in Gremlins, and that was pretty cool. I loved Gremlins growing up. Not so much Gremlins 2. It was kind of more of a money grab, but I thought it was pretty cool to talk to him about that. Nestor Carbonelli from Bates Motel and Dark Knight Rises, and just he's been in so many things, and I got to talk to him about Bates Motel because I wanted to know how he felt about his character's demise at the end of that show, and that was a pretty cool conversation. Then I got to meet a lot of Walking Dead cast that I did not get to meet at the aforementioned August Con. Stephen Ogg, who played Simon, who was one of Negan's right-hand men. Pretty awesome guy. Sarah Wayne Calais, who played Lori, Rick's wife and Carl's mother. And I got to get her take on the state of Walking Dead at that time, because we knew how many more seasons they had left, and then the subsequent spin-offs and so on, and that was a good conversation. Laurie Holden as well was there from The Walking Dead, and Jenna Elfman. I'm going to leave her till the end because I want to shoot a shot. But also Christiana Loken, who played the female Terminator in Terminator 3. Very beautiful woman, and was really cool to talk to her about her experience with Terminator. And then the ever popular Joe Pantoliano, Joey Pants, as a lot of people call him in the industry, I guess. From Bad Boys and Matrix, and so many other things. But that was around the time that they had announced that Bad Boys 3 was going to be coming out, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm definitely going to be in it," and seems like a wild ride. So that was pretty cool to kind of get some insight. And Hayden Christensen was there, and that was the first time I got to meet Hayden. George was not with me then, so I got an autograph for him, and got a couple pretty good stories to tell him about the Star Wars universe from him. Michael Rooker, also from Walking Dead, and obviously Guardians of the Galaxy. Very cool guy. Elvira, Cassandra Peterson, got to meet her, and who didn't when I was growing up in the 80s, watch Elvira. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, she's still a gorgeous human being. So, got to meet Ben McKenzie and Marina Baccarin. They are husband and wife, and they worked on Gotham together. They were actually next to each other, table mates, down there, and got to interact with both of them at the same time, and that was pretty fun. And I also got to take a photo with them. But I wanted to harpen back to Jenna Elfman for a minute. So here's my shot here. I've been a big Jenna Elfman fan forever, from Dharma and Greg days, and I would love to talk to her on this podcast. So when I send out these shorts, if you guys could like, share, comment, I'm going to tag her on Instagram. Maybe she can come on the show. I would love to meet her, or have her on the show. Just a genuinely lovely woman. And I know right now she's working on Dark Winds for AMC and Shifting Gears for ABC. So please, Jen, come on the show. Would love to have you on. There's my shot. 2019, very limited time. I really didn't have much time to do anything in 2019, just from working and just life at that point. So I got to meet Corey Feldman and got to take a picture with Sean Astin, Corey Feldman, and Ke Huy Quan, obviously Data from Goonies. And I posted on Instagram that I was a Goonie for a day. I didn't get to get Ke's autograph, but luckily 2025 he will be at Terrificon, and I will get his autograph and tell him the story that I met him back in Fan Expo in 2019. Also, Sean Young, she played Lois Ihorn in a very funny movie called Ace Ventura, and many other things. She was also in Blade Runner. She played one of the androids in that movie. Very eccentric woman. Loved meeting her. And then, of course, 2020. Well, let's not talk about it, so I'm not going to. But you know that everything was shut down, so there was no Comic-Cons that year. 2021, as we came out of said problem, Fan Expo was not running a show in Boston that year because logistically it was too brand new as the world was reopening. So Rhode Island had said that they were going to, because it was in November and they had set up enough protocols for it to be safe to try to do one. So it was a very small con, obviously, for many different reasons. One, people were still trying to get the new normal. Also, there was still the fear of catching it. I will say this, knock on this desk. It has been 5 years now. I worked in the front lines, as they said, as an essential worker. I still have not gotten the vid. Nope, no, not once. And if I did, then I had no idea. And I never spent any time away from work, except for 1 week when my ex-wife got COVID. I had to, because of contact and social distancing and whatnot, the protocols were in place that I had to spend a week away. Well, but I never got it. So 2021, George got to meet some of his favorite people. Gaten Mataroso, or Z, from Stranger Things, and he got to meet him. That was pretty cool. And then Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard from the original Scream movie. They were in the same room. Matthew Lillard is absolute nut. He is so crazy and so funny. Um, Here's a shot. I would love to have Matthew Lillard come on the show and, you know, get to talk to him a little bit more. He has done so many things, and he's going to be doing another Five Nights at Freddy's, and George loves Five Nights at Freddy's. So, Matthew, come on the show. I would love to chat with you about it. And also, what is up with Scream 7? Or whatever we're on now. 8, 9, 20, I have no idea. So, yeah. So I'm shooting my shot there for Matthew Lillard. And besides the fact that Ashley really likes Matthew Lillard, so there you go. Come on the show. But sharing a story about Matthew, he had a little Lego Ghostface on his desk, and at the time, George was really big into Legos, and so he mentioned it, and Matthew was like, "Oh, you really like it?" And he took the time to actually sign the little Lego. I still have it, or George still has it. It's in his collection of action figures and so on, and it meant a lot to him. I also got him to go to his first panel. He didn't really like panels. I really never got to go to panels because it was always interfering with, me being in lines and so on, and I really wanted to try to do a panel. So we got to do the Scream panel with Matthew and Skeet. And Matthew had a very powerful message, and I was glad that George got to listen to it, because when we got in the car and we talked about it, George was really into art and toytography at the time, and at times he was very frustrated with, some of the drawings and some of the pictures. And I always wanted to tell him, just keep going, and it'll get better, and you can always change things, and not everything can be perfect. And Matthew had talked about roles that he was in, or the struggles of being an actor, and not giving up, and hey, it may suck on the first take or the first 100 takes, but as long as you can get it done and get it to be where you want it to be, that's how things work. And I thought it was something that George was able to take with him. So that was 2021. 2022, went back to Rhode Island Comic Con and got to meet Josh Hamilton from the Commonwealth. He was the leader of the Commonwealth in the Walking Dead series. We got to meet Robert Patrick, and that man is very, very, very crazy. He was sharing a birthday that day. Somebody had brought him a cake, and he was like, "I'm not sharing this with anybody." And he had kind of a life lesson for George as well, about listening to his parents and not doing drugs and so on. And George is like, "Wow, he's pretty eccentric, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's a good lesson, so hopefully you listened." So, and then took Ashley to her first Comic-Con on that Sunday to meet wrestlers, and because got her into wrestling. But we also got to meet Danny Trejo, really cool guy, and that was fun to meet him. Vincent D'Onofrio was also there. Full Metal Jacket is one of my favorite movies. We didn't really get to talk to him because we were kind of one of the last ones in his line before he went to lunch. So I kind of felt bad for holding him up. So I wanted to kind of briefly talk to him, and I was like, I don't really want to interrupt your lunch, but just wanted to say this, that, and the other. And he was really appreciative of that, and he was really cool. We could have gone back to see him because he was like, if you want to come back, and I was like, yeah, if we've got time, we'll definitely do it, but we never had time. But he was pretty cool, and I know he's coming back this year to Rhode Island with you know, Charlie Cox and Deborah Ann Wall from Daredevil. So maybe we'll catch up there. But I got a funny story about one of the wrestlers. And I know George is going to hate me for it, but whatever. So, his favorite wrestler at the time, an AEW wrestler called MJF, who is actually going to be starring in Happy Gilmore 2 as one of Adam Sandler's kids in the movie, which is coming out this Friday. So, we're looking forward to that. But MJF, his on-screen persona is that he is an absolute douchebag. And he's admitted it. He loves when the crowd calls him a douchebag. He is everything that you would think of as a douchebag. Like, he did so many things to wrestlers, to fans, and whatnot. So I had seen viral video of how he interacted with people, and when he came out, I saw when we got into line how he was, and I'm like, yep, he is that douchebaggy persona 24/7, I'm guessing. And so George was happy to see him. He was dressed up like MJF, and we got up there, and I remembered he had braces at the time, George did, and he was like, he said to George that, what, your parents are too poor to buy Invisalign for you? You know, your teeth look like railroad tracks. And then he said something else, and I don't remember exactly, but it was pointed at me, and I kind of just brushed it off. And then, so we signed the poster that George had, and then he signed one of the action figures. And he was like, oh, I have to sign two things, and then kind of just shoved them aside. So, again, being his on-screen persona. And then I said to George, I said, you know, was it everything you thought of? And he's like, yeah, no, he definitely, you know, was who he was. So, that afternoon, I had set up a photo op for George, and I'm like, you're going to go in, and you're going to take a photo with him, and, you know, we'll be out waiting. So, George was wearing his scarf, and as you see in the picture, this is priceless. And when George came out of the photo op booth, he was so taken back, and he was like, can I go back in and retake the photo? And I was like, no. Look at this photo and tell me what's wrong with this photo. So, as you'll see, a photo here. This is I said, one, it is MJF doing MJF things. I remembered him right before George went in. A little girl went in and flipped him off, and he was, you know, flipping her off, and so on. So I kind of had a feeling that something was going to happen in the photo op. I had no idea what it was. But I said to George, I said, this is a memory now you're going to have forever, and now you have a picture to prove it. So this is a funny story for you to share with your kids one day, that, you know, this is how I was treated at the Comic-Con that year by one of my idols. So that was 2022. 2023, we went to Terrificon, mostly for the wrestlers. Ashley got to meet her favorite wrestler, Wardlow, and his nickname was War Daddy, and so she was over the moon excited. The two actors I got to meet, Michael Biehn from Aliens and Terminator. He was actually sharing a birthday, and when I was up there, they had us singing happy birthday to him as a surprise to him, so that was pretty cool. And then Sean Gunn from Guardians, and now obviously the new Superman movie, but he was pretty cool as well. Also that year we went to Fan Expo. We got to meet Peter Weller, who was Welker, I'm sorry, um, who was the RoboCop back in the day. He was pretty cool. Tara Strong, who you would recognize from many animated shows, and she was also the voice of Miss Time and Loki, and other things as well. So we get to meet her. That was pretty cool. And then Henry Winkler, the Fonz. I will say that I was a big Happy Days fan, and I was a big Fonzie fan. Like, I had my hair slicked back. I didn't wear the leather jacket like he did, but I always kind of acted like him, like when I was younger. And that was pretty cool to meet him. And I told him the story about that. He thought it was funny. And then that Sunday, we got to meet Hayden Christensen, and George was over the moon excited to meet him. It was an all-day kind of an ordeal because he was only there for a short period of time, but it was well worth it for him, and I was appreciative that I had the honor to meet him twice. He is coming back to Fan Expo this year. He is one of 5 big named guests that are going to be there. It's just going to be a cluster. I had already met him, so I had no interest, but I wanted to meet Ewan McGregor and John Cena, but I think John Cena will be at more Comic-Cons now that he's a part of the DCU. Orlando Bloom is also there that day, but yeah, as I said, I'm not going to Fan Expo this year. It'll cost me a whole lot less to go to Terrificon. And then finally, 2023, I went to Terracon. Now, this was on George's birthday, so we went that Sunday, and we got to meet Heather Langenkamp, the original Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. But that wasn't what I talked to her about. I was talking to her about her work in Mike Flanagan's shows on Netflix. And she was like, wow, you're really into Mike Flanagan stuff. I'm like, yeah, I mean, who isn't? You know, she was talking about, more projects that she's going to be doing. And so it'll be good to see her and some other stuff. Danny Lloyd. Yes, Danny, the little boy from The Shining. That was pretty cool to meet him. Also, Danielle Harris. Danielle Harris, from Halloween, the little girl from Halloween, and plenty of other horror stuff. She talked to George mostly because she has teenagers, and she wanted to get some opinion on some stuff that she wanted to buy her kids and stuff. So that was pretty interesting. That was pretty fun. And then he got to meet Chandler Riggs from, obviously, Walking Dead, Carl. I got to meet him years ago at the Walker Stalker Con in Boston. So I had already met him, and George finally got to meet him. Then Rhode Island Comic Con that year. We went, and there was so many people we got to meet. Nolan North, who played Nathan Drake in the video game version of Uncharted, which is an amazing game. If you've ever played PS4, play Uncharted. If you haven't, then you're missing out. I know that Tom Holland played Nathan Drake in the movie adaptation, which was fine. I didn't really care. But the movie was pretty good. Lou Ferrigno, the original Hulk. I loved the Incredible Hulk, and my mom said I used to cry at the end of the episodes when the Hulk would leave. Yeah, I was really young. Okay, sorry. But it's a funny story. John Schneider from another classic, Dukes of Hazzard. Yes, that John Schneider. Really cool guy. Had fun talking to him. Harry Hamlin. Most people know him from Law and Order. I remembered him from Clash of the Titans. I thought Clash of the Titans was an amazing movie. I know it's kind of corny nowadays because of the special effects, but it was a really cool movie, and got to meet him. Then I got to meet some of the Brat Pack. We got Ali Sheedy up first, and she was very nice. I got to meet Molly Ringwald, also very, very nice. And I got to meet Anthony Michael Hall, and it was, I kind of wanted to ask him about the Halloween movies, because he was in the new Halloween movies. And George wasn't with me, again, for some reason. He asked me to ask him about Halloween and stuff, so I got to talk to him about that. And then one of the other Brat Packers, or labeled Brat Packers, Andrew McCarthy, from all those films back then. I loved Mannequin. I actually talked to him about Mannequin, so that was pretty cool. I got a autograph for my mother from Vicki Lawrence. Very funny lady, and very, very nice as well. Mary McDonald was there as well. She was from the new Battlestar Galactica, but I remember her in Dances of Wolves, and many, many other films as well. And Greg Nicotero, who was a producer, a writer, director on The Walking Dead, and that was pretty cool. And then got to meet Marissa Tomei, very nice woman as well. My Cousin Vinny. I mean, how could you not love My Cousin Vinny with her in it? And I know she's been the new Aunt May in the new Spider-Man movies, so that was pretty cool. Christina Ricci from the original Wednesday from the Addams Family movies. She was pretty cool. She had her son be her personal photographer at the table, and that was pretty cool. Carrie Ann Moss also, and Carrie was very interesting because she was talking about a new project that she was working on. Little did I know that she was talking about the Acolyte series and the new Matrix movie. She was elaborating that the Matrix movie was coming out, but she was kind of top secret about the Star Wars. So one of the weirdest interactions I've ever had with a celebrity happened when I met Linda Hamilton. She is from Terminator fame, Sarah Connor, and she was talking, and we had a good conversation, and then as soon as we were done, I went to go shake her hand. She reached over and grabbed my shoulders and pulled me forward to give me a kiss, and it was almost on the lips, but I had turned my head because I was a little taken back by it, because I've never had a celebrity actually do that before. Usually they shake your hand, maybe fist pump, maybe a hug, but yeah, that was one of the strangest interactions I've ever had. But Linda is a amazing person, so thank you for that memory. So we go on to 2024. We go to Fan Expo. So this was Father's Day weekend because they had to move Fan Expo from August to June, and that weekend George wanted to go to the anime convention in Rhode Island. So I said, I'll make a deal with you. You come with me Friday and Saturday to Boston, and I'll go on Father's Day to Rhode Island. So he agreed. This was my my ticket in to Fan Expo last year was a media pass. So I was able to shoot some B-roll, but I was not allowed to interview anybody. So it was kind of a disappointment, but again, the press pass was great to be able to get some exposure that way. Shoot a little B-roll. Now I know what I'm looking for the next time, if and when I get another pass. So there were only 3 people that I really wanted to see, and one was Mads Mikkelsen. He's been in so many genres now, but I remember him as Hannibal from the TV show. He's been in Doctor Strange, so he's been in the MCU. He's been in Star Wars. He was the guy who built the Death Star, and had the little exhaust port that eventually the rebels were able to destroy the Death Star. And he's been in Indiana Jones as well. He was in the last film. So he was really great. George wanted to meet Cameron Monaghan. He played the young Joker in the Gotham series, and George wanted to meet him because he played a video game character called Cal in the Star Wars Jedi Forces, I think it was, or Jedi. I don't remember exactly what that was. Should have wrote that down. But he gets to talk to Cameron about how he filmed that, and that was pretty cool for George. So, and yes, finally, we met Bryce Dallas Howard on Friday night. Toward the end of the night, I had a photo op that I had to change to Saturday because I missed it because we got into Boston kind of late that day, and so I just switched it over. So we really didn't do much on Saturday, and like I said, we spent the Sunday down at Rhode Island Anime Con. So, but on Saturday we get to meet some of his voice actors from the anime series, and then that's what we did on Sunday, on Father's Day. And then finally, Rhode Island Comic Con last year. So I don't usually do Fridays. I did for Boston because I needed to get my press pass, but I also did it for George in the respect of the Red Dead Redemption 2, or even Red Dead Redemption 1. Some of the voice and characters were going to be there. So I had to take AJ, so his first Comic-Con, got him in the stroller. He wasn't really thrilled about riding in the car, but strapped him in the stroller, and he had a blast, people watching. And everybody thought he was so cute and everything else. So we got to meet the cast of Red Dead Redemption. So Alex McKenna, who played Sadie Elder in the game. Benjamin Brian Davis played Dutch Van der Linde. Bob Winthrop played John Morgan, and Roger Clark played Arthur Morgan. So that was fun for him. We also went to go see the panel on Saturday, so he was stoked about that. I got to meet on Saturday Helen Hunt. We get to meet David Arquette, Giancarlo Esposito, Michael Winslow. We get to meet on Sunday from such films as Police Academy, and he was in Spaceballs briefly. He's the guy that does all the funny sounds, and he is a very funny human being. We had a great chat, and he was making George laugh, and that was pretty cool. Katie Sackhoff, I got to meet. I was a big fan of hers going in. She was in the Riddick movie. She played Doll. She's now in Mandalorian and Star Wars. And as Bo-Katan, she was also Starbuck in the remake of Battlestar Galactica series. So that's what I get to talk to her about a little bit. And she's an awesome person. So here's another shot. So Katie Sackhoff, I know you have a podcast of your own, but I would love for you to come on my show. I've been a big fan of yours, and hopefully that we can like and share and comment and whatever we need to do to get you on here. And I know she's coming back to Rhode Island this year, so who knows? Let's see what happens. Finally, Soleil Moon Frye. Punky Brewster. I grew up watching Punky Brewster, loved Punky Brewster, and I wanted to meet her. The unfortunate thing was, where she was in the convention center, the lines were so long they kept capping them off, and every time we circled, it was so hard to get to. So I actually never got to meet her. However, I did have a photo op with her, so I got to at least take a picture, which we'll see. But I know she's coming back to Rhode Island, so here's another shot. Soleil Moon Frye, I would love to have you on my podcast. I've been a fan of yours forever. And hopefully this year in Rhode Island I'll get to actually meet you, in person. But for the time being, come on the show. So you guys have to like, comment, share, tag, whatever you need to do. Let's see if we can't get Soleil Moon Frye on here. So that is the list of guests and Comic-Cons I've been to. Again, I didn't mention Walker Stalker because it is no longer, and but there is about 5 more people that I really need to meet from The Walking Dead. Will they ever be in Rhode Island or Boston? Who knows? So we'll see. Coming up, the Fan Expo and Terrificon. I will be going to Terrificon. The guest list is a little bit smaller, but it's not bad. I think it'll be less people-y, and it will be a lot less cost, because it is because Fan Expo, again, putting 5 big names on one day for one day is just a cluster. And again, if you've ever been to a Comic-Con on a Saturday, it is a massive humanity. And yeah, it's hard to move around. And again, with celebrities being only there for one day, the lines are going to be insane. And you're not going to be able to enjoy the con, really, unless you're there all 3 days. So, but Terrificon. And this is the only one I'll mention a lineup because it's coming up in less than 2 weeks. Jeremy Davis from Lost and some other stuff. Michaela Hoover, who was in the new Superman movie. She was also in Guardians and some other projects as well. Anthony Kerrigan was supposed to be there, but he is actually filming right now, so they had to pull him, but he will try to be back next year. Mitch Poligia, and I told George to watch the movie Shocker. This is where I first saw him in a film. Shocker is a really cheesy 80s horror movie, but at the time when I was growing up, I thought it was pretty cool. So if if you have seen Shocker, comment and let me know what you thought of it as well. Henry Thomas. I mean, do I have to list his accomplishments? I mean, E.T. and now with Mike Flanagan's stuff. I mean, so I'm going to have a lot to talk to him about on there. Karen Allen from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones movies. It'll be interesting to meet her. Haley Atwell, Agent Carter, and maybe I'll be asking her if she's going to be making an appearance in Doomsday. You never know. Although she was done dirty in Multitude of Madness, I thought she was done dirty. And then finally, K. May Kwan, Short Round, and he was also in the Loki series. He also was in Love Hurts, which hurt to watch, but he's had a great second revival to his acting career, and it'll be good to see him. And I'll actually get an autograph this time instead of just being in a photo shoot or a photo op with the Goonies or subsequent. So that is the lineup. Now, Terracon right now, the only one right now that's really on my radar is Linda Blair. Although they just mentioned that they will be dropping the Conjuring movie stars this week. So cross your fingers for some guests that I would really, really like to see. So I'll update that as we get closer to September. Right now, Silver Screams is the weekend after. Art the Clown right now is the only one I really want to meet. Although I'm going to shoot a shot here. Spencer and maybe crew from Ice Nine Kills. I would love to have you on the show. Again, I've become a fan of yours because of Ashley, who used to play you constantly. And I've been to I've been to 4 concerts, and 2 of them have been yours at Silver Screen. So I'm definitely going to go again. But would love to have you on the show. You are a local band, and would love to promote your Comic-Con. And then finally, Rhode Island in November. The guest list is growing. I'm going to need a second job probably to get through that. So, with that being said, I finally finished this thing. The reason why it's taken so long is just researching and trying to find all the photos and everything else. And it was one crazy ride. And again, 2025 is going to be fun. 2026 is going to probably even be better too. Who knows? But all right. Thank you all for listening. I know this has been a long process, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed some of the stories and the commentary. And if you have any questions as to somebody you heard that I had seen, and you want to know more about them, feel free to comment down below. So that being said, I'll see you all at the movies.
You like that, baby? Let him know where I came from, yeah!
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's all, folks.